What's up, Rockstars? In case you didn't know, I was recently banned on BoardGameGeek. I'm going to be discussing why, and please listen to what I have to say. It's probably not what you think, but I'm going to go ahead and discuss it. So let's actually get into this really important conversation. Now, as always, a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that I'm able to be as independent as I am, so I can bring you videos just like this one. You don't have to worry, and I don't have to worry about stepping on any toes because I don't take any money from any game developer. Normally there's a bunch of games there in the process of figuring out kind of a home situation to make this channel a little bit better and to kind of do things better for my family as well. So apologize for the empty shelves. Trust me, they're normally full of games. Anyway, just seriously, huge shout out to them. There is a link down below. If you wish to support this kind of honest industry coverage, I do greatly appreciate it. If not, though, that's fine too. If you enjoy this conversation or you feel it's important or that you liked it in some way, feel free to like the video on your way out. And I, again, greatly appreciate it. And let me know in the comments below what you think about this. And I guess just be respectful, right? Like, we're all adults here, ideally. And so, as an adult, or just as mature people, it's actually mature, huh? Alright, I'm actually going to start out with a quote that I heard recently. It was from a video. I'm going to go and link down below just because if I got it from a YouTube video, I should link to it. It's from a much different channel than this. But they said, the goal of an argument is not to be right, it's to get it right. I thought that was actually pretty profoundly put, very well put, right? Because it's nice and concise, and you're in the search of right, but it's not necessarily your right, and you're not trying to prove that you're right. You're just trying to get to what's right. That's what the purpose of an actual argument should be. And so I'll come back to that later. I just wanted to kind of preface this whole thing with that, because you guys know I'm down in the comments all the time. I love discussion, especially if you disagree with me. I think that's great. I think it's awesome that different people can have different takes on things. We can kind of have a discussion about it. I think that's pretty awesome. So just blanket statement that too. And also, if you're wanting a hate train video, might as well leave now. This is not going to be some kind of like, oh, it's bad, it's dumb, or anything like that. It's not going to be that. So that's just not what this video is about. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. And I do have some notes here, just so if I'm referencing some, I just want to make sure, again, I say what I'm trying to say. Oh, and by the way, yes, this shirt, I was a GameSpot mod for several years back in a past life when I had time to play video games. But that is long gone. It was when I was in college. And, yeah, I had more time in college than now. Anyway, I'm not anymore, and obviously I don't represent them. But I thought it was quite fitting for what I'm talking about here. Okay, so let's go and move on. This is some of the great comments that were said about my video, Safe Haven. If you didn't know, there was a big thing where Frosthaven and Isaac Childs, or Childs, or I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce names at all. Isaac posted about how, he was concerned about, he essentially got like a cultural guide to make sure that he's not like offending anybody and stuff like that, which is I think a fine thing to kind of search for. Now how he did it, this kind of depends or whatever. But anyway, I made a video discussing it and just kind of giving some ideas on why some people might feel certain ways. And this guy decided to say, and let's go ahead and read it together. White guy fed up with world getting upset over nothing. Makes 40-minute video sobbing about a game changing the word race to species. Gets patted on the back by other anti-sensitivity white guys who had their feelings deeply hurt by a game designer suggesting they can cancel their pledge if they disagree with some arbitrary changes. Honestly, the YouTube comments are hilarious. The thundering applause of people fighting back the tears to stand steady in ovation is as if he delivered a speech that will bring the end the violence in the Middle East, as opposed to spending half an adult word hour earnestly telling the game designer not to say mean things about people who might have perfectly valid reasons for canceling support for a game that was just announced. It won't be racist. Ladies and gentlemen, the representative of our community, Ryuko. So this was just an example of some of the comments that were in this and that continued to be said about my video and about you guys and about me. And I won't even get into the fact that he's assuming race based off of a stance, which is it's often ironic how racist the people are when they talk about stuff like that. Like, I'm not assuming anybody's race here, but I guess he can assume a skin color. I guess he judges skin color based off of opinions. Who knew? I didn't know that. But hey, Ryuku, I guess you're the expert. Anyway, gem of a comment, definitely 22 likes, well-deserved commendations. Round of applause for that gentleman. Anyway, so that's the kind of stuff that I was saying. So here's my response. This is me trying to respond to people discussing it actively. And note, just by the way, that this was May 19th. This was several days later, right? and this is an issue here. So, here is, now, obviously I was being disruptive and dismissive, right? And I'm going to get into like the Board Game Geek rules and stuff like that. We'll discuss it all. Don't worry about it. Here was my last comment. Now, again, they had been removed. So I took a picture of the last one here and says, okay, now my post was removed for mainly as disruptive, dismissive. So I'll summarize even shorter. Now, here is what I wrote before, just, at a little bit more length or whatever, but it didn't mention the whole disruptive, dismissive thing or anything like that. I apologize for any issues my thumbnail title caused. It was not intended. I love people and just want kindness shown to those that haven't actively done anything wrong. I think Isaac is trying to do what's right and have no issues with anything but 2 sentences he wrote. Please don't delete my post again. I am not being dismissive. I am agreeing with that there was an issue and acknowledging it here. I am not being dismissive. I am actively apologizing and clarifying. I think board games should be welcoming to everyone. I will take a screenshot of this post so I can share it where it can't be removed should you choose so, but I do sincerely hope that you don't. I'm on topic for the thread. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Even you, the moderator. Tiny little heart. Okay. And what happened to that? Well, yeah, the moderator saw that and said, nope. Doesn't need to be there. Not a good part of the conversation. And again, before that, I didn't have this whole mod, please stop doing this, because that hadn't happened before. The other ones were just like, oh, my post was accidentally removed, because it happens, right? And that's fine. And then it was just hey, I think people were great. It was just that. So that's as terse as I could get, but they said, nope, not welcomed here. And they really felt it was not welcome here. This post is unwelcome in our forums and has been removed. Moderators remove potentially disruptive comments so the rest of the thread can continue without operation. And then, of course, once I try to even be more, it's, guess what? You're temporarily suspended until you request reinstatement and we provide it. So, why is this? Why is this an issue you see on Board Game Geek a lot? I mean, if you look here, look at all these. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, literally, out of 8, 9, 10, 11 posts, 3 survived. It just destroys the conversation, right? You can't have a conversation there. People are responding to different things. Nobody understands the rules very well because the rules actually kind of talk about it. So let's talk about the rules. Do not violate their terms of service. Of course, do not post anything racist, sexist, misogynistic, objectifying, unless, of course, you're posting Kingdom Death Monster minis, in which case we welcome it. Homophobic, transphobic, or any other form of bigotry. And again, it just depends. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Do not harass anyone for any reason. So, of course, by the way, just this welcomed. There were moderators looking at it all the time, and this just stood there. This is a fine, perfectly acceptable, non-moderated comment. This comment is perfectly okay. So this is not harassment. This is not anything. You can say this about people you want, all you want. That's fine. This is a bannable offense. Okay, we'll get back to that. Okay, let's go back to the community rules. Okay, do not post comments dismissive of other people's concerns over sensitive issues. Okay, so that's a crux right there. Just because, in other words, if somebody says, I think this is an issue, and you say, I don't think this is an issue, that's not allowed. You cannot do that. Now, there is some questions I have a little bit about whether or not you can post a thread about it. I know you can't comment on their thread, so you can have a discussion on their thread about it. Right? Now, could you post another thread that says, I don't think this is an issue? I think that's allowed. I think that's what they want you to do, is not post on their thread at all and make your own thread for it. But you can't, forums don't work that way, right? You can't have a conversation across 2 different threads where one side's here, one side's here. That's not a conversation, right? And do not post anything disruptive or ongoing discussions, such as comments that are trolling, antagonizing, derailing, etc. So again, you cannot be antagonizing. So this guy's not antagonizing at all. This is just him giving me a digital hug. This is me saying, you, the viewers, you guys are awesome. Okay. And so that's just FYI. That's not antagonistic. That's perfectly allowed. That's the stuff they want. The stuff I posted wasn't. Do not complain or comment about moderation in threads, not about site moderation. Such comments derail discussions. That is why I was banned. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that I kept trying to post and I wasn't able to post, and me saying, I can't post, and then posting got it removed. That's that first one here. That's this one right here. Or I say, oh yeah, sorry, my other ones were removed, and then did that. Because I said, oh sorry, my other ones were removed, it was deleted. Okay, so just explain the whole situation. Do not post anything that causes disruption in any other way that is not already listed. Do not request or provide content for the purpose of replicating a game, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And forum moderators have the final say in determining whether or not a given post is appropriate. Now, this is important. Now, also, I wanted to point out, by the way, that other people were talking about other stuff. That's fine. Here's our friendly Ryuku. Days later, still fine, not banned. His comment's still there. He's able to keep having a conversation. I'm not. Okay, so this is the crux of the thing. Forum moderators have the final say in determining whether or not a given post is appropriate. In other words, it is not unilateral, and it shouldn't be, of course, right? So, in other words, when they get a post, right, and they see that I mentioned that my posts were removed, and then I have this other thing where I'm talking about this, it is their decision on whether or not to allow it or not. It's not the, oh, you posted about a month, so you always go. That's not how it works. It's not, I've never even heard of moderation being that way. It doesn't work on BoardGameGeek according to their rules. It didn't work at GameSpot like that. And again, of course, I can only talk for myself here on that, and I'm not representing them, blah, 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 whatever, don't sue me. What I'm saying is that some moderator read that comment where I apologized and clarified, and I said this, and they said, you know what? No, that's against the rules. You can't do that. Because I had a little, oh, sorry, I'm having to post again because it was lost. That's not allowed. But this is totally fine. This gets recommendations. This gets comments. This is not antagonizing. This is not anything. Now, eventually, when I actually asked for reinstatement and I was working with one of the moderators and I posted this saying, hey, so could you explain why this is allowed, this isn't? It was then removed. So it's no longer there. But I took this picture on the 20th of June. So the 20th of June, it was still there. That's over a month it was there. So it was there for quite some time, and now it is gone. So they went and deleted it once I pointed it out. It's just, but I mean, they were looking at the thread. I mean, as you can see, they were actively here, right? I mean, here he is again. And then right after he posted their sum, right before he posted their sum, right? You can't have a conversation like this, right? You can't do anything like that. It's kind of a bummer. Now, so I would like to point out, so it's the moderator's decision. So the moderator's decision says, this is fine, this isn't fine. Perfectly acceptable according to the moderators of BoardGameGeek, needs to be deleted and banned. This is a bannable post. I was banned for this. Now I've been reinstated as long as I promise never to do it again, because I did so many wrong things. I was such a bad person. I apologize for any issues my thumbnail title caused. I'm going to read in this voice. It was not intended. I love people and just want kindness shown to those. Ban him. What a jerk. He doesn't belong on BoardGameGeek. We're not welcoming here, but this guy, honestly, the YouTube comments are hilarious. The thundering applause of people fighting back, the tears to stand steady in ovation as he delivered a speech that will bring the end of violence in the Middle East, as opposed to spending half an adult language hour earnestly telling a game designer not to say mean things about people who might have perfectly valid reasons for canceling support of a game that was just announced. It won't be racist, because I'm a white guy fed up with the world getting upset over nothing. I'm just a white guy because I apparently my skin color matters. I didn't know we cared about people's skin. I thought we cared about people. I care about people. I don't care if Ryuku is black, white, brown, or orange. He might be a guy, in which case he's a guy fed up, but I don't know what the white has to do with it, except that I guess he's using it as an insult. So the white guy's fed up, and the white guys who had their feelings. That's what he's choosing to define this negativity of, is white guys. So apparently to him, white guys are bad. Way to be racist, Ryuku. Way to be racist. Obviously, they can't ban me here. They can't censor me here. I'm allowed to post whatever I want here. I'm thankful for that. But what I wanted to talk about is this again. So bring this video back. The goal of an argument is not to be right. It's to get it right. When you are talking about different things, right? Right here, Shell Storage has posted a video in response to KOA's video. The only reason This would not be welcomed or allowed on BoardGameGeek because my original post wouldn't be allowed on BoardGameGeek. In other words, I come here, let's say I'm super ignorant, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why would you say things as racist? And then, I don't think that's an issue. I'm being dismissive, right? It's against their process. I cannot say that. So then that means that Shelf Stories can't respond with, well, you get triggered by different things. For instance, you might be triggered as a white guy being called racist all the time, every single day at the drop of a hat. It's a very commonly thrown out word. Racist, right? So I'm a little sensitive to that. So when I read Isaac's post, I read into it and I see it, and that's how I read it, right? That colored my interpretation of it. So if you've been dealing with racial issues, right? This is Golly What's great video, by the way, Shelf Stories. I'm sorry we haven't had a conversation. Yeah, We'll have one. It'll happen. It might not be recorded anything, but I still would love a chat with you because you seem like a great guy. Anyway, he had a great response video where he's talking about this, right? Where it's like, well, as somebody who's dealt with racist stuff, and he talked about his wife having to deal with these terrible situations too, you read into it. And so when you see that, you read it differently. Light bulb. Yeah, okay, I can see that. I did the same thing, right? We all color things differently. Color, non-ironically there, just like rose-tinted glasses, stuff like that. Like we see things and interpret it through our self-biases, through our experiences. And so I read an update and be like, oh my gosh, he's being a jerk. And then they read an update and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see that. And other people read an update and see something differently. Conversation, argument, discussions, debate is a fantastic thing. Stuff like this, we need to be able to discuss. We need to be able to be welcoming, right? And we need to be welcoming to the other side too. It's like if you opened a church and you said, okay, no sinners, no prostitutes, no drug dealers, no, invite those in. They're the ones that need to hear what you're saying, right? If all you're doing is talking to other people that agree with you, you're not changing anything. If it's just a bunch of people saying things, nothing happens. Nothing's changed. Nothing's converted. Nobody gets anywhere. It doesn't help. It's counterproductive. This is why BoardGameGeek sucks, because they don't provide the tools to do it, right? And because you can't even have a conversation here. You can't even follow the conversation here because it's so broken up by all of these removed posts. So you can't see what people are saying. There are people removed from the posts. It's a mess. So it's a very bad service from a technical standpoint and from an implementation standpoint. It doesn't serve its purpose. When he posts the Shelf Stories video, everybody here that's able to comment and read that would agree with that. So nobody that might actually watch that and think, oh yeah, that's a good idea, is able to be there, at least a vast majority of them. Because if they make a comment and it's at all dismissive or questioning of the legitimacy of something or wondering what the big issue is, what's the big deal? Is that, you can't do that. It's dismissive. And that's unfortunate because that's the people you want to talk to, right? I would think that's who you want to talk to. You want to talk to me, right? You want to talk to the fed up white guy that's upset because, I don't know, I wasn't even upset. I was explaining why some people might cancel the stuff. I didn't cancel it. I'm still a paying customer of Frosthaven. So I didn't even cancel. I wasn't upset, but I don't think he even watched the video. He probably just saw that I posted something, maybe even clicked on it, saw I was white, and was like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and just dismissed me based off my skin color or something like that, because that's what champions do, I guess. Anyway. It's just unfortunate. And it's unfortunate that the moderators enforce this. It's unfortunate that the moderator can clearly see that people are discussing it before and after my post. People are discussing my video. And so he knows that I'm being talked about and then refuses to let me say anything in defense. And now this thread is locked. So for all of eternity, people can get, I don't know, all eternity, for a long time until another meteor hits and go the way of the dinosaur. I don't know. People are going to be able to go to BoardGameGeek and see, okay, what's kind of stuff's allowed on here? And they're going to see people talking about my video. Again, this lived here for over a month until I mentioned something about it. And see what they're talking bad about this guy. And they won't even see my attempts at trying to actually comment. So that brings me to kind of the last bit here. And that's that, we need to, first of all, treat people with respect. We need to actually realize that there's people here, that this is not just a comment from the king of average, the channel, that there is somebody here that's seeing people talk bad about him and wants to ensure that they aren't upset, which I think is a good thing. that to ban somebody for trying to make people be happier and to cheer up and to not be so down and to, not say mean things about people and to ban that, it just boggles my mind because again, it's their choice. The moderators have final say in determining whether or not a given post is appropriate. They're the ones that decide it. They're the ones that are enforcing it. It boggles my mind. Just like a cop doesn't have to write you a ticket for speeding. They get to decide what it is. And if you're rushing your wife to the hospital, they are allowed to say, oh, you know what? I understand you were speeding. I'm not going to write you a ticket. Right? So a moderator was able to see all this terrible conversation and decide, you know what? Mine needs to be removed. It needs to be banned. Everything else is fine, but this is not. And that's really unfortunate. We need to foster good communication. Fostering is another key word. Now, you look here, right? You look at this, and finally at the very end, right, you start seeing this, but if I go on to 20, look for an admin. You're not going to see it. You're going to see a lot of admins doing things, a moderator, right? But what you're not going to see is them actually guiding the conversation, them actually communicating. So there was nothing really, like this is what I received, was this. This is the only communication I had about it. Is just this. It's really unfortunate that they didn't reach out and say, hey, please post again, right? Like somebody could have commented, hey, post again, but don't mention the moderation, right? Or something like that. Or if you want to mention moderation, do another one. But like, there's no guidance. There's nobody on here saying, oh, hey, let's actually focus on this. When I was a moderator, and again, I did this for years at a big website. And, we had various tools available to us, but we were encouraged to participate in conversation. First of all, we could have our own opinions, of course, but often the tone of something you can guide a conversation, right? So for instance, in my Discord, sometimes people get a little edgy, right? I like to view Discord at work, and so it needs to be kind of work appropriate. I can't just open up Discord to respond to a message. Oh, okay, well now I'm fired, right? I can't have that. So it needs to be kind of PG-13 or less. And every now and then people start to skirt the lines a little bit. And all I do is I make a comment, let's guide it. Or if people are starting to talk about, just the other day, people were starting to talk about religion a little bit, right? And so I posted on there. I didn't remove anybody's post or anything. Hey, let's steer clear of that. Let's do that, right? You guide the conversation. And then we started talking about other stuff and we moved on to food like we always do. And you can lead by example and you can actually take just watching here, remove, doesn't actually do anything, right? That doesn't actually guide the conversation. That doesn't, it's why you get these chains like that. Because like the only reason I was commenting on that is because I wasn't aware that even if I just mentioned, like, it wasn't part of my post, right? This first one here, it wasn't like, that wasn't the subject of my post. It was an aside, oh, sorry, and then doing that. And they deleted the whole thing for that for being disruptive dismissive. There's no communication. There's nothing. It's just disruptive dismissive. There's nobody saying here like, hey, let's make sure to keep the moderation talk to a 0, right? And just focus on responses without commenting on that, right? There's nothing like that. So it's really unfortunate that the moderators kind of take a step back for the most part and don't actually guide the conversation or communicate when they are moderating, which is also another unfortunate thing. I would always send a thing saying, hey, here's why I did what I did, or hey, try it again, but without saying that, or, whatever it might be. So it's really unfortunate. And in fact, I would even offer to edit their post if they wrote a whole big old thing. Cause again, it's all about the message, right? And it's like, oh, but then you said this right here. And a great post, great point, but they're right there, right? And so I would, just say, hey, we can just edit that out. You can do that. There's all sorts of options available as a moderator. And it's unfortunate that they stifle conversation, especially honest conversation. And it's unfortunate that they would not take context into the situation and realize that somebody's being targeted and that person tries to respond and can't respond. In fact, they're going to prevent him from responding at all. And they're going to lock the thread. So he can never respond to that. It's just out there and he can't say anything about it. It's just unfortunate. I guess all I wanted to say is that we are all people, right? Real people with feelings and all that kind of stuff. And we're all unique. And at the end, that diversity is what's so great. And it should be fostered and it should be encouraged and it should be nurtured. And that includes steering people maybe the way you wish they were, right? So if you think you're right, which is fine. Now, granted, you don't need to go into a conversation trying to be right. And this is really talking about how, even if you happen to be right, hey, that's great, right? But you can't go into the conversation like that because people get defensive and stuff like that. And I'm guilty of this myself, which is why I'm watching videos kind of like this to try and better communicate, because it's kind of what I do now. But anyway, let's just focus on getting it right. And you can't get it right if you don't allow the other person to also get it right? So we just need to foster that diversity, and that includes, so if you have a welcoming gaming table, right, then that includes the people you might not agree with how they voted for the president, or might not agree with their idea on Brexit, or might not agree with on abortion, or any other, hot topic that gets people's blood running, or whether or not God exists, or it doesn't matter. Come on, let's go play a game. That's fine. If we want to discuss it, as long as we're civil, that's fine too. Even if you say, yeah, I don't think that's an issue. Okay, well, why don't you think that? Oh, no, I disagree. What's the harm in that? Now, I get antagonistic, right? Trust me, I get antagonistic. You guys let it happen. I get people getting fired up and starting cursing and talking bad about people and bringing race into it and assuming race and doing all this other stuff and mocking other people like Ryuku does to make himself feel better, right? I get that. I understand the human idea of putting other people down so that you can feel better about yourself with no effort, because you didn't have to change anything or actually be better. You just had to put other people down. I get it. It happens all the time. And I get it's the internet. I'm not upset at Ryuku. I think it's kind of sad that people get into that mode, right? Where they feel that they need to feel good about themselves and they have to do it by putting other people down, and that's kind of what they do it. And that's unfortunate. And so I honestly feel bad for Ryuku that, and I hope they get some self-happiness other ways, hopefully. So anyway, I don't want you yelling at whoever this guy is. Yeah, so that's it. I think Board Game Geek kind of sucks. And they need to get their act together. And again, I say sucks because I talk casually, right? Like, that's just how I talk. Like, if something sucks, it sucks. If it's better, it's better. I'm not like, it's garbage and it's crap. I'm not going, starting to, sobbing and all that. I'm not trying to be excessive here. I'm just like, their tools suck and their moderation stance suck. And I think it needs to improve so that they can actually be productive in what they're trying to do, which is be welcoming. And I don't mean welcoming intolerance. I don't think it's an issue is intolerant. I think that's saying I don't have an issue, or I don't see what the issue is. Maybe you can help me understand it. Shelf Stories did a wonderful job showing me why that's an issue for some, and now I know. Thank you, Shelf Stories. It's too bad you had to do it off of Board Game Geek, because I wouldn't have been able to respond to you. So they don't want me responding, apparently, because I'm a bad person posting these bad messages. Anyway, so let me know what you think, seriously, about this, about what we can do to, I don't know, do we need to get around this? Do we need an alternative? Is there an alternative that's like legitimate, like a site people would actually use? BoardGameGeek is not the best site, but they're investing and improving, and they've revamped it a little bit and all that kind of stuff. But we need to have a forum where we can talk. We need to, and I don't mean a forum as in like a internet forum. I mean a forum as in a place. We need a place where we can discuss these kind of issues, where we can have a back and forth, where I can say something and Shelf Stories can say something, and I could say something back and he can say something back. And, again, you get rid of the mean posts. Don't leave them and get rid of the nice posts. So, I don't know. Is there a sensible place somewhere? Because it's not Board Game Geek, apparently, and I doubt they're just going to view this video, especially with a thumbnail, and assume I'm just some white guy with a problem again. So thank you for getting to this point of the video and not just assuming I'm some white guy with a problem. I do appreciate it. I really do. So that you hear me as a person, and I can hear you as a person when you comment below, because you're a person, not a username, not a tag, not a stuff, but you're a person, and I appreciate that. All right. Well, fun video. I got more unboxings. I got, Mythic Games game over here. I got something from FedEx. I got something from FedEx. I got something from it looks like a TV channel, but it's not. It's an interesting one. So we'll get into that too. All right. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Seriously, I appreciate it. On the way out, if you appreciate me willing to be tackling this kind of stuff, not just standing on the sidelines, because I got plenty of people commenting on my Safe Haven videos saying we agree, but it's all behind the scenes. Nobody's coming out and actually saying that, right? Nobody's standing up and saying, hey, yeah, I agree with this or that. Shelf Stories was really the only other one of kind of some prevalence. There was a few others that even, tackled it or responded to me or anything like that. So it's just unfortunate that people are kind of afraid to stick their necks up. If you appreciate me doing that and putting my head on the chopping block for some people, I get really, really upset when I have a different opinion. Leave a like on the way out. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Take care, guys.